17 Black R&B legends who were blacklisted that you didn't know about. What if some of the greatest black music legends weren't just fighting for hit records, but for the right to control their own voices? Behind the platinum albums and standing ovations were artists who challenged record labels, demanded ownership, confronted censorship, or refused to stay silent when it mattered most. But how much of what we've heard is actually true, and how much has become legend over time? In this video, we'll separate verified history from popular myths while uncovering the real stories behind these remarkable icons. Before we begin, tell us in the comments which artist you believe faced the greatest injustice. Then don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for Golden Black Legends so you never miss our next unforgettable story. Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye was more than a soul singer. He was an artist who challenged the limits of what popular music could say. Born in Washington, D.C. in 1939, Gaye rose to fame through Motown Records with timeless hits such as How Sweet It Is I Heard It, Through the Grapevine, and Let's Get It On. By the early 1970s, he had become one of the label's biggest stars, but commercial success was no longer enough. Marvin wanted to create music that reflected the pain, hope, and uncertainty of a changing America. That vision led to the groundbreaking 1971 album What's Going On, inspired by the Vietnam War, racial injustice, environmental concerns, and social inequality. The project nearly never reached the public. Motown founder Berry Gordy initially refused to release the title track, believing it was too political and would damage Marvin's commercial appeal. Gaye refused to record another song until the single was released. When it finally reached radio, it became an instant success, selling more than 2 million copies and proving that audiences were ready for music with a deeper message. The album is now widely regarded as one of the greatest recordings ever made, forever changing the direction of soul music. Despite that triumph, Marvin's relationship with the music industry remained complicated. He constantly sought greater artistic freedom, ownership of his work, and creative control over his recordings. These ambitions often brought him into conflict with executives who preferred safer commercial formulas. Unlike many stories repeated online, there is no verified evidence that Marvin was secretly blacklisted or targeted by a hidden conspiracy. The documented conflicts involved artistic differences, business negotiations, and the realities of an evolving industry. Marvin's life ended tragically on April 1, 1984, when he was fatally shot by his father during a family dispute just one day before his 45th birthday. His death shocked the world, but it never diminished his influence. Today, What's Going On continues to inspire musicians, activists, and listeners across generations. Marvin Gaye's greatest legacy was not simply his extraordinary voice, but his courage to use music as a platform for truth, compassion, and social change, proving that one artist could give an entire generation a voice. Prince was one of the rare artists who refused to let the music industry define his identity. Born Prince Rogers Nelson in Minneapolis in 1958, he displayed extraordinary musical talent, from an early age mastering multiple instruments before becoming an international superstar. Albums such as 1999, Purple Rain Sign, Older Times, and Diamonds and Pearls established him as one of the most innovative performers in modern music. Over his career, he sold more than 150 million records worldwide, won 7 Grammy Awards, an Academy Award, and influenced generations of musicians with his fearless creativity. Yet behind the dazzling performances stood an artist determined to control his own work. During the 1990s, Prince entered one of the music industry's most famous disputes when he challenged Warner Brothers Records over ownership of his master recordings and restrictions on releasing new music. Believing the contract limited his artistic freedom, he changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol, appeared in public with the word "slave" written across his face, and encouraged conversations about artists' rights long before the issue became common throughout the industry. At the time, Many observers misunderstood his actions, but years later, numerous musicians acknowledged that Prince had been fighting for creative ownership that countless artists now seek. Contrary to many internet conspiracy theories, there is no credible evidence that Prince was blacklisted by a secret organization or silenced because of hidden knowledge. His conflicts with record companies were well documented and centered on contractual control ownership and artistic independence. Eventually, Warner Brothers and Prince reached a new agreement, and he regained ownership of much of his catalog, marking a significant victory for creative rights. Prince passed away unexpectedly on April 21, 2016 from an accidental fentanyl overdose at the age of 57. His death ended one of music's most remarkable careers, but not his influence. Today, artists across every genre continue to cite him as a model of innovation, independence, and fearless originality. More than a legendary performer, Prince became a symbol of artistic freedom, reminding future generations that protecting one's creative voice can be just as important as achieving worldwide fame. Donny Hathaway. Donny Hathaway possessed one of the most unforgettable voices in soul music, blending extraordinary technical ability with emotional honesty that few artists have ever matched. Born in Chicago in 1945 and raised in St. Louis, Hathaway displayed remarkable musical talent from childhood, studying classical piano before entering the professional music world. After working as a songwriter, arranger, and producer, he emerged as a solo artist with acclaimed recordings such as The Ghetto, A Song for You, Someday We'll All Be Free, and his timeless duets with Roberta Flack. His music combined gospel jazz, classical influences, and soul, creating a deeply personal sound that continues to inspire singers decades later. Despite his artistic brilliance, Hathaway often struggled to maintain creative and personal stability. During the 1970s, he battled paranoid schizophrenia, a condition that was poorly understood at the time and often left untreated. Periods of remarkable creativity were followed by episodes of severe mental illness that interrupted recording sessions and live performances. Although these struggles affected his career, his dedication to music never disappeared. Friends and collaborators frequently recalled that even during difficult periods, Hathaway remained committed to creating meaningful art that reflected genuine human emotion. Unlike many stories repeated in sensational documentaries and online conspiracy theories, there is no verified evidence that Donny Hathaway was secretly blacklisted or silenced by the music industry. His tragic death on January 13, 1979, after falling from the Essex House Hotel in New York City, was officially ruled a suicide. While speculation has continued for decades, no credible investigation has uncovered evidence supporting claims of murder, missing recordings, or organized conspiracies surrounding his death. Although his life ended at just 33 years old, Donny Hathaway's influence has only grown stronger. Artists including Alicia Keys, John Legend, Beyoncé, and countless others have cited him as a major inspiration. His recordings remain among the most emotionally powerful performances in American music history. Rather than remembering Donny Hathaway through unverified rumors, history celebrates him as a gifted musician whose honesty, vulnerability, and timeless voice continue to comfort listeners across generations. Nina Simone. Nina Simone was far more than an extraordinary singer. She was a fearless artist, accomplished pianist, and outspoken advocate for civil rights who refused to separate music from justice. Born Eunice Kathleen Wayman in North Carolina in 1933, Simone originally dreamed of becoming the first internationally celebrated black classical concert pianist. After being denied admission to the Curtis Institute of Music, a decision many historians believe was influenced by racial discrimination, she turned to performing professionally, eventually creating a unique style that blended classical music, jazz, blues, gospel, folk, and soul. During the 1960s, Nina's career changed dramatically as the civil rights movement intensified. Deeply affected by events such as the murder of Medgar Evers and the 1963 bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, she began writing politically charged songs, including Mississippi, Goddamn, For Women, and To Be Young, Gifted, and Black. These recordings challenged racism directly and quickly became anthems of the movement. However, her outspoken activism also carried professional consequences. Some radio stations refused to play her music, concert opportunities declined in certain regions, and parts of the entertainment industry viewed her political message as controversial. Although these documented challenges are sometimes exaggerated into conspiracy theories, the historical record clearly shows that Nina faced resistance because of her uncompromising public activism rather than secret plots. Frustrated by racism and financial pressures, she eventually spent many years living outside the United States, continuing to perform across Europe and Africa while maintaining her artistic independence. Today, Nina Simone is recognized as one of the 20th century's most influential musicians and one of its bravest cultural voices. She received a posthumous Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2018. Her legacy extends far beyond music, reminding audiences that artists can challenge injustice while creating timeless masterpieces. Nina Simone proved that true greatness is measured not only by talent but also by the courage to stand for one's beliefs, even when doing so comes at a personal and professional cost. Syl Johnson. Syl Johnson built a remarkable career through persistence, originality, and an unwavering determination to protect his work. Born in Mississippi in 1936, before relocating to Chicago, Johnson became known for his rich blend of blues, soul, funk, and R&B. Songs such as Is It Because I'm Black, Take Me to the River, and Different Strokes established him as one of the most distinctive voices of his generation. Although he never achieved the commercial recognition enjoyed by some of his contemporaries, fellow musicians deeply respected his songwriting, expressive vocals, and innovative recordings. One of the defining chapters of Johnson's career involved his determination to defend artists' intellectual property. As hip-hop producers increasingly sampled classic soul recordings during the 1980s and 1990s, Syl realized that some of his music had been used without proper licensing or compensation. Rather than accepting the situation, he pursued legal action to secure the royalties he believed were rightfully owed. His efforts helped draw attention to the importance of copyright protection and encouraged broader conversations about fairly compensating original creators whose work formed the foundation of countless modern recordings. Contrary to dramatic claims sometimes found in documentaries and online discussions, there is no verified evidence that Syl Johnson was secretly blacklisted or deliberately erased by a hidden network within the music industry. His career certainly included financial challenges, legal disputes, and periods when mainstream recognition faded. But these realities are well documented and differ significantly from unsupported conspiracy theories. In later years, renewed appreciation for classic soul introduced his music to younger audiences, while documentaries and reissues highlighted his lasting influence on both soul and hip-hop. Syl Johnson passed away in 2022 at the age of 85, leaving behind a catalog that continues to resonate across generations. His determination to fight for artistic ownership made him an important figure, not only in soul music but also in the broader discussion of creators' rights. His story reminds us that protecting one's legacy sometimes requires as much courage as creating it, and that true influence is often measured by the artists who continue building upon your work long after the spotlight has faded. Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke was far more than one of the greatest voices in soul music. He was a visionary businessman who understood that true artistic freedom meant owning both the music and the future it created. Born in Mississippi in 1931 and raised in Chicago, Cooke first gained national recognition as the lead singer of the Soul Stirrers before launching an extraordinary solo career. Hits such as You Sent Me Cupid Chain Gang and Bring It On Home to Me made him one of the biggest stars of the early 1960s. Yet behind the smooth vocals stood a determined entrepreneur who wanted Black artists to have greater control over their careers. Unlike many performers of his era, Cook established SAR Records and a publishing company, allowing Black musicians opportunities that were rarely available in an industry largely controlled by others. He also became increasingly involved in the civil rights movement, supporting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and writing the powerful anthem "A Change Is Gonna Come." Released shortly after his death, the song became one of the defining civil rights recordings in American history. Cook's growing independence sometimes created tension within the music business. His insistence on owning master recordings, publishing rights, and business interests challenged industry practices that often left artists with little control over their own work. While some documentaries and internet discussions suggest he was deliberately blacklisted or targeted by powerful figures, there is no verified historical evidence proving a coordinated effort to silence him. His business ambitions and activism certainly made him an influential figure, but claims involving hidden conspiracies remain unsubstantiated. On December 11, 1964, Sam Cooke was fatally shot at the Hacienda Motel in Los Angeles. Authorities ruled the shooting justifiable homicide involving motel manager Bertha Franklin, although questions surrounding the circumstances have continued to generate debate for decades. Despite those unanswered questions, no definitive evidence has overturned the official findings. Today, Sam Cooke is remembered not only as a legendary singer, but also as a pioneer who fought for artistic ownership and economic independence. His music business vision and commitment to equality continue to inspire generations of musicians who believe creative freedom is worth protecting. Millie Jackson. Millie Jackson built a reputation unlike anyone else in soul and R&B. Fearless, outspoken, and unapologetically honest, she transformed concerts into unforgettable performances filled with music, humor, and bold social commentary. Born in Georgia in 1944, Jackson rose to prominence during the 1970s with songs such as Hurts, So Good, If Loving You Is Wrong, I Don't Want to Be Right, and Caught Up. While many artists carefully protected their public image, Millie challenged expectations by speaking openly about relationships, sexuality, gender, inequality, and personal independence long before those conversations became common in mainstream entertainment. Her fearless style frequently attracted controversy. Several radio stations refused to play some of her recordings because of explicit lyrics, while certain retailers declined to stock albums featuring provocative artwork. Television appearances were also limited compared with many of her contemporaries, largely because producers considered her performances too daring for family audiences. These obstacles undoubtedly affected her commercial exposure, but they also strengthened her reputation as an artist unwilling to compromise her voice for broader acceptance. Although sensational stories sometimes claim Millie Jackson was secretly blacklisted by the music industry, historical evidence points instead to the realities of broadcasting standards and changing commercial trends. Her outspoken personality and adult-themed material often conflicted with conservative programming policies, yet she continued recording, touring, and maintaining a loyal fan base throughout her career. Rather than disappearing, she remained one of soul music's most distinctive performers, admired for refusing to soften her message. Millie's influence can still be heard in the work of countless female artists who later embraced honesty, confidence, and creative independence. Her spoken word performances, fearless storytelling, and willingness to confront uncomfortable subjects helped expand what women could express in popular music. Today, she is recognized as a trailblazer whose originality paved the way for future generations. Millie Jackson's legacy reminds us that artists who challenge convention are often misunderstood at first, but history frequently celebrates the courage that once made them controversial. Betty Wright. Betty Wright was one of soul music's most powerful voices and one of its strongest defenders of artists' rights. Born in Miami, Florida in 1953, She achieved stardom as a teenager with unforgettable recordings including Clean Up Woman, Tonight is the Night, and No Pain, No Gain. Her remarkable vocal ability combined with emotional honesty and remarkable stage presence made her one of the defining female voices of Southern soul. Yet beyond her success as a singer, Betty became equally respected as a songwriter, producer, mentor, and advocate for fairness within the music business. Throughout her career, Wright openly encouraged younger performers to understand contracts, publishing rights, and ownership of their creative work. She mentored artists including Joss Stone and collaborated with musicians from multiple generations, always emphasizing the importance of protecting artistic independence. Her willingness to speak candidly about business practices sometimes placed her at odds with record executives, particularly during periods when she sought greater control over her recordings and career decisions. Despite claims found in some internet stories, there is no verified evidence that Betty Wright was secretly blacklisted because she exposed widespread abuse within the industry. What is well documented is that she chose independence over conformity, founded her own record label, and continued making music outside traditional commercial systems whenever necessary. Her determination demonstrated that success could be achieved without sacrificing artistic integrity. In later years, Betty became a respected mentor on television and in recording studios, helping young performers develop both their voices and their understanding of the music business. Her influence extended far beyond her own hit records, shaping a new generation of artists who admired both her talent and her wisdom. Betty Wright passed away in 2020 at the age of 66, leaving behind an extraordinary legacy built on resilience, honesty, and creative excellence. Rather than remembering her through unverified conspiracy theories, history honors Betty Wright as a gifted singer who spent her life empowering others, proving that protecting one's voice can be just as important as using it to create unforgettable music. Chuck D, born Carlton Douglas Ridenauer, in 1960 emerged as one of the most influential voices in hip-hop by transforming rap into a platform for political awareness and social change. As the leader of Public Enemy, he helped redefine what hip-hop could accomplish with landmark albums such as It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back and Fear of a Black Planet. Songs including Fight the Power, Bring the Noise, and Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos challenged racism, media bias, and systemic inequality, making Public Enemy one of the most important groups in music history. Chuck D's outspoken activism often generated controversy. During the late 1980s and early 1990s, some radio stations hesitated to play Public Enemy's music because of its confrontational political themes, while certain television networks and commercial outlets limited exposure to performances they considered too controversial. These reactions were publicly documented and reflected concerns about the group's message rather than any secret campaign. Chuck D consistently defended his work, arguing that music should encourage discussion rather than avoid uncomfortable truths. Beyond performing, he became a strong advocate for artists' rights, digital independence, and fair compensation in the music industry. Long before streaming transformed entertainment, Chuck D encouraged musicians to embrace new technology and maintain greater control over their careers. His speeches, books, and interviews have consistently emphasized ownership, education, and creative freedom. Although some online narratives claim Chuck D was blacklisted by the industry, the historical record shows a more nuanced reality. Public Enemy achieved commercial success, critical acclaim, Grammy recognition, and induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame while continuing to challenge mainstream institutions. The controversies surrounding the group reflected disagreements over political expression rather than evidence of organized suppression. Today, Chuck D remains an influential artist, author, and public speaker whose voice continues to inspire musicians and activists alike. His career demonstrates that meaningful art often provokes debate, but lasting influence comes from remaining committed to truth, integrity, and the courage to speak when others choose silence. Sly Stone. Sly Stone changed the direction of popular music by proving that soul, funk, rock, and social commentary could exist within the same song. Born Sylvester Stewart in Texas in 1943 and raised in California, he displayed remarkable musical talent from childhood, mastering multiple instruments before becoming a successful radio DJ and producer. In the late 1960s, he formed Sly and the Family Stone, one of the first major American bands to feature black and white musicians, as well as both male and female members performing together. Their groundbreaking hits including Dance to the Music Every Day, People Family Affair, and Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself. Again celebrated unity while challenging racial and social divisions during one of America's most turbulent decades. As Sly's influence grew, so did his determination to create music on his own terms. He rejected many industry expectations, experimenting with darker themes and unconventional recording techniques that confused some executives and disappointed those hoping for more commercial material. His unpredictable behavior, frequent concert cancellations, and growing struggles with substance abuse also damaged relationships with promoters and record labels. These documented problems slowed his career far more than any organized effort to silence him. Over the years, some documentaries and online discussions have suggested that Sly Stone was deliberately blacklisted because of his political message or refusal to conform. However, no credible historical evidence supports the existence of a coordinated campaign against him. His career declined primarily because of personal challenges, changing musical trends, and business difficulties rather than secret industry conspiracies. Even so, many critics acknowledge that his innovative work was not fully appreciated during certain periods of his life. Sly Stone spent his later years largely outside the spotlight, but his influence never disappeared. Countless artists across funk rock, hip-hop, R&B, and pop have sampled his recordings or cited him as a major inspiration. His fearless creativity transformed modern music, forever proving that originality often comes with tremendous personal sacrifice. Today, Sly Stone is remembered not as a forgotten legend, but as one of the most revolutionary musicians of the 20th century, whose artistic vision continues to shape generations of performers. George Clinton. George Clinton stands among the most innovative architects of modern funk, creating an unmistakable musical universe that forever changed American music. Born in North Carolina in 1941 and raised in New Jersey, Clinton began his career with the Parliaments before expanding his vision into Parliament and Funkadelic. Blending funk, psychedelic rock, soul, gospel, jazz, and science fiction imagery, he introduced audiences to the unforgettable P-Funk mythology. Albums such as Mothership Connection, One Nation Under a Groove, and Funkadelic vs. the Placebo Syndrome became landmarks that influenced generations of artists from hip-hop to electronic music. His groundbreaking productions have since been sampled thousands of times, making him one of the most influential composers in popular music history. Despite his enormous impact, Clinton spent decades fighting legal battles over ownership of his recordings, publishing rights, and royalty payments. Financial disputes involving record companies, former business partners, and copyright claims repeatedly forced him into lengthy court proceedings. Rather than quietly accepting unfavorable contracts, Clinton challenged the system, insisting that artists deserved fair compensation for the music they created. His determination earned respect throughout the industry and highlighted long-standing problems involving intellectual property and creative ownership. Some online discussions portray George Clinton as a musician who was deliberately blacklisted after questioning the music business. In reality, historical evidence points to contractual disputes, complicated copyright issues, and financial mismanagement rather than any organized effort to silence him. Although these conflicts created significant obstacles, they never prevented him from continuing to perform, record, and inspire younger generations of musicians. Clinton's influence only expanded as hip-hop producers embraced the Parliament Funkadelic catalog. Artists including Dr. Dre, Tupac Shakur, Snoop Dogg, and countless others incorporated P-Funk into their own recordings, introducing his music to entirely new audiences. Today, George Clinton is celebrated not only as the godfather of funk, but also as a symbol of artistic perseverance. His lifelong fight for ownership and recognition reminds musicians that protecting creative work can be just as important as creating timeless songs that continue to move audiences around the world. Billy Paul. Billy Paul possessed one of the smoothest and most expressive voices in soul music yet. His career reflected both remarkable success and the challenges faced by artists who chose meaningful messages over commercial safety. Born Paul Williams in Philadelphia in 1934, he began singing professionally as a teenager before serving in the US Army and eventually signing with Philadelphia International Records. His breakthrough arrived in 1972 with Me and Mrs. Jones, a heartfelt ballad that topped the Billboard Hot 100, earned a Grammy Award, and established Billy Paul as one of the defining voices of the Philadelphia soul movement. Rather than relying solely on romantic songs, Billy increasingly recorded music addressing social justice, poverty, war, racial inequality, and community empowerment. Albums such as 360 Degrees of Billy Paul and songs including Am I Black Enough for You reflected his commitment to discussing issues affecting Black Americans during the 1970s. Although these recordings earned critical respect, they received less radio support than his biggest commercial hit. Some stations preferred more conventional love songs, while record executives believed politically conscious material would appeal to a narrower audience. Over time, this difference in artistic direction contributed to the widespread belief that Billy Paul had been blacklisted by the music industry. However, available historical evidence does not support claims of a coordinated effort to silence him. His career was shaped by changing musical trends, radio programming decisions, and the commercial realities of the era rather than secret conspiracies. Even so, many historians acknowledge that his socially conscious recordings deserved greater recognition than they received during their original release. Billy Paul continued performing for audiences around the world until his passing in 2016 at the age of 81. In later years, critics increasingly praised his willingness to balance commercial success with meaningful storytelling. Today, his legacy extends beyond Me and Mrs. Jones, reminding listeners that music can entertain while also encouraging reflection about society, equality, and human dignity. His career remains a powerful example of an artist who refused to sacrifice substance simply to chase popularity. Esther Phillips. Esther Phillips possessed one of the most distinctive voices in American soul, blues, jazz, and R&B, yet her remarkable talent often received less recognition than it deserved. Born in Texas in 1935, she began performing as a teenager after winning a local talent competition that brought her to the attention of bandleader Johnny Otis. Throughout the following decades, Phillips developed a career defined by emotional depth and extraordinary versatility, recording memorable songs such as Release Me and I Love Him, and her Grammy-nominated interpretation of What a Difference a Day Makes. Her ability to move effortlessly between musical styles earned admiration from fellow artists, even when commercial success proved inconsistent. Despite her undeniable talent, Esther's career was repeatedly interrupted by personal struggles, particularly her battle with heroin addiction during the 1960s. These challenges affected recording opportunities, live performances, and relationships with record companies. Even after successfully returning to the charts during the 1970s, she often found herself competing in a rapidly changing industry where commercial trends shifted faster than artistic recognition. While some later accounts suggested she had been deliberately blacklisted, historical evidence does not support the existence of any organized campaign to silence her. Instead, her career reflected the harsh realities of addiction, changing musical tastes, and business decisions that affected many artists of her era. What made Esther Phillips exceptional was her remarkable ability to transform personal hardship into emotionally powerful performances. Her recordings carried a sincerity that resonated deeply with audiences, influencing singers across soul, blues, and jazz for generations. Critics frequently praised her expressive phrasing and remarkable vocal control qualities that made every song feel deeply personal. Esther Phillips passed away in 1984 at the age of 48 after years of health complications. Although her career never reached the commercial heights of some contemporaries, her artistic legacy has continued to grow. Today, she is remembered as one of soul music's most underrated vocalists, a performer whose resilience, emotional honesty, and unmistakable voice continue to inspire musicians who value authenticity above commercial success. Fontella Bass. Fontella Bass earned her place in music history with one unforgettable hit, but her greatest contribution may have been her determination to stand up for artists' rights. Born in St. Louis, Missouri, in 1940, into a family of accomplished musicians, Bass developed her talent performing gospel before moving into rhythm and blues. Her powerful voice attracted the attention of Chess Records, where she recorded several successful singles. In 1965, she released Rescue Me, a song that became an international sensation, reaching the top 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 and remaining one of the defining soul recordings of the decade. While Rescue Me brought enormous commercial success, it also exposed serious problems within the music industry. Bass later discovered that she had not received proper songwriting credit for helping develop the song during the recording process. Believing her creative contributions had been ignored, she challenged Chess Records over publishing rights and royalties. At a time when many artists, especially black performers, had little control over contracts or ownership, her decision to fight for fair recognition required considerable courage. Some later accounts exaggerated her experience into claims that she was secretly blacklisted after confronting the record company. Historical evidence tells a more balanced story. Although legal disputes and disagreements affected her relationship with the label, there is no verified proof of a coordinated effort to erase her career. Instead, Fontella Bass became one of several pioneering artists who exposed inequities in the recording industry and inspired later generations to demand greater transparency and ownership. Following her departure from Chess Records, Bass explored jazz, gospel, and experimental music, refusing to limit herself to commercial expectations. Her willingness to follow her artistic instincts demonstrated remarkable independence even when mainstream popularity declined. When Fontella Bass passed away in 2012 at the age of 72, she left behind a legacy far greater than a single hit record. She is remembered as both an extraordinary vocalist and a determined advocate for creative recognition, proving that artists deserve credit not only for performing great music but also for helping create it. Odetta. Odetta was more than an extraordinary singer. She became one of the defining voices of the American civil rights movement. Born Odetta Holmes in Alabama in 1930 and raised in Los Angeles, she originally studied classical music before discovering folk blues and traditional spirituals. Her rich contralto voice and commanding stage presence quickly earned national attention during the 1950s. Unlike many performers seeking commercial success, Odetta used music to preserve African American history and tell stories of resilience, dignity, and freedom. Her recordings deeply influenced artists including Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, Harry Belafonte, and countless others who admired both her artistry and her courage. As the civil rights movement gained momentum, Odetta became closely associated with its message. She performed at rallies, benefit concerts, and historic events, including the 1963 March on Washington, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. Her songs gave emotional strength to a generation demanding equality, making her one of the movement's most respected cultural figures. Because her repertoire often addressed racial justice and social change, some radio stations and commercial outlets offered less exposure than they gave to more politically neutral performers. Nevertheless, Odetta never softened her message to gain broader commercial acceptance. Although some modern narratives claim she was intentionally blacklisted because of her activism, there is no definitive historical evidence proving a formal campaign against her. What is well documented is that artists who openly supported civil rights often faced professional obstacles, especially in parts of the United States resistant to social change. Odetta accepted those challenges with remarkable grace, believing that music carried responsibilities beyond entertainment. Throughout her lifetime, she continued performing internationally while receiving numerous honors for both her artistic achievements and humanitarian contributions. When Odetta passed away in 2008, at the age of 77, she left behind a legacy that extended far beyond the concert stage. Today, she is remembered not only as one of America's greatest folk and blues singers, but also as a fearless cultural voice whose commitment to justice proved that music can become one of history's most powerful instruments for change. Bobby Womack. Bobby Womack built one of the most resilient careers in soul music, overcoming personal tragedy, public criticism, and constant reinvention to remain relevant for more than 5 decades. Born in Cleveland, Ohio in 1944, Womack first gained attention as a member of the Valentinos before earning recognition as a gifted songwriter and guitarist. His early career was closely connected to Sam Cooke, who mentored the young musician and helped introduce him to the music industry. After Cooke's tragic death in 1964, Bobby's controversial decision to marry Cooke's widow only a few months later generated intense public backlash. The criticism damaged his reputation and temporarily slowed his career, making him one of the most talked about figures in soul music. Rather than disappearing, Womack rebuilt his career through determination and extraordinary musical ability. During the 1970s, he released acclaimed albums featuring classics such as Across 110th Street, Woman's Gotta Have It, Harry Hippie, and If You Think You're Lonely Now. His music blended soul funk, gospel blues, and deeply personal storytelling, earning admiration from fellow musicians across multiple generations. Although his career experienced periods of decline, his songwriting and guitar work remained highly respected throughout the industry. Some documentaries and online discussions have suggested that Bobby Womack was unofficially blacklisted because of personal controversies and outspoken opinions. However, there is no verified evidence that the music industry organized a deliberate campaign to silence him. His career setbacks were primarily linked to public reaction, substance abuse struggles, changing musical trends, and personal decisions rather than secret interference. In later years, collaborations with artists including Damon Albarn and the Gorillaz introduced his remarkable voice to younger audiences and sparked renewed appreciation for his legacy. Bobby Womack passed away in 2014 at the age of 70, leaving behind a catalog filled with emotional honesty and unforgettable performances. His life demonstrated that redemption is possible even after tremendous setbacks. Today, he is remembered not only as an exceptional singer and songwriter, but also as an artist whose resilience allowed him to overcome controversy and reclaim his place among the greatest voices in American soul music. Ike Turner. Ike Turner remains one of the most complicated figures in the history of American music. Born in Mississippi in 1931, he was a gifted guitarist, pianist, songwriter, producer, and band leader whose influence helped shape the birth of rock and roll and modern rhythm and blues. Long before achieving worldwide fame alongside Tina Turner, Ike played a key role in recording Rocket 88 in 1951, a song widely recognized by many music historians as one of the earliest rock and roll records. His innovative arrangements, energetic performances, and talent for discovering new artists earned him respect throughout the recording industry. Despite those accomplishments, Ike Turner's legacy became overshadowed by documented allegations and accounts of domestic abuse during his marriage to Tina Turner. After Tina publicly described years of physical and emotional abuse in her autobiography and later interviews, public opinion shifted dramatically. Radio stations, television programs, and many music industry figures distanced themselves from Ike while his reputation suffered lasting damage. Unlike conspiracy theories that claim he was secretly blacklisted by hidden industry forces, the historical record clearly shows that the decline of his career was primarily the result of his own actions. Legal problems, substance abuse, and the widespread public response to the abuse allegations. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Ike struggled with addiction and legal troubles, including drug-related convictions that further damaged his professional opportunities. Nevertheless, he continued recording and performing after rebuilding parts of his career following his release from prison. In 1991, Ike and Tina Turner were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, recognizing their enormous musical contributions despite their deeply troubled personal history. During his later years, Ike also received a Grammy Award for the blues album Risin' with the Blues, demonstrating that his musical abilities remained respected even as his personal reputation remained controversial. Ike Turner passed away in 2007 at the age of 76. His story serves as a reminder that extraordinary talent does not erase personal responsibility. While his influence on rock, blues, and soul music remains undeniable, his legacy is inseparable from the documented choices that shaped both his remarkable achievements and his lasting public reputation. History has shown that some of the greatest black music legends didn't just battle for fame. They fought for creative freedom, artistic ownership, and the right to have their voices heard. While some truly faced censorship, unfair contracts, or industry resistance, it's also important to separate verified history from the myths that have grown over the years. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Which artist do you believe was treated the most unfairly by the music industry, and whose story surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this documentary, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another unforgettable story from Golden Black Legends.